Good morning, Hampton Roads. How's everybody doing today? And welcome to Virginia's only local real estate investing podcast, where we get to talk about local investors, local deals, and all things local. I'm your host, the founder of the Master Investor Academy, and author of my best-selling book, Work Just Gets in the Way of Making Money, Scott Jelinek. How's everybody doing? If you have any questions, comments, concerns, things you'd like to discuss, or properties you would like to sell, you can text me directly at 757-699-4227. That's 757-699-4227. So I wanted to talk to you about a few things today, but what I really wanted to do is I wanted to go over the numbers with two checks that I picked up today and tell you about why we're getting so many checks, and we have a few more on the horizon. So first of all, how's everybody doing today? Weather has finally broke and we are starting to get a little bit chilly. I keep forgetting I got to bring a jacket every day. I don't know when the last time I spoke to you was. I did an online event. It was my very first time doing an online event. I think I told you about that. What I've decided to do is, I think I asked you guys for your opinion on what you thought about doing local, doing online. And I think I decided I'm going to do both. I'm going to try to do, I did this last online event I did was strictly slow flips, but the next one I'm going to do my regular 3-day and give that a whirl, because I got a lot of people around the country. Some have flown in for my live events as far as Seattle, Nebraska, California, New York, Jersey. And so I think I'm going to try and put that online as well so that people don't have to travel all the way in. And then I'm still going to do just 4 live events per year. So I think that's kind of the decision that I made right now. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is 2 checks that I picked up and explain to you the math on them, because without going through the math, it seems, and if you ever look at people's stuff online, they only show you the gross numbers. I'm always a little bit different with what I do, but I'm going to show you the actual numbers. So this very first check that I just picked up is for $111,152. And you can see this one is dated November 4th. So this one here is November 4th, 2021. 111,152, and then this next one is $86,541, and this one is dated November 3rd. We had an election day, so the courts were closed, which is why I had to wait an extra day to pick them up, because everything was closed for a day. And for those of you who are local, Glenn Youngkin won, so pretty excited about that. We're turning back to a red state for a little while. We'll see how things go. I think it's been 8 years. So we're excited to see how that all pans out. So I want to run you through the numbers on these just to let you see what the actual profit is. So on this one, that is $111,000. And this is why I want to share this with you. If you go online and you see somebody that has a course they're selling or has some whatever it may be, they're going to show you, I made $111,000 and you can too. And what I'm trying to show you now is that that's not real. This is not the actual check. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But in this particular one, the check is for $111,152. But what you don't see when you just show a check is on this particular deal, this was a wholesale. This was one that I actually closed on and then sold. So I closed on it with my own money and then put it for sale. So the amount of money I made on this is very little. So I purchased this property for $99,000, but I closed on it, which meant I had to pay closing costs, title insurance, recording fees, everything, lawyer closing costs, everything that comes with it. So I ended up in it for a total of $102,100. And so out of this 102,100 was my own money coming back to me. So my total profit out of this check, although it's a giant check, my total profit was $9,052. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I always tell people, I say, hey, would you bend over and pick up $9,000? Yeah, you would. So it was the same thing. It was a deal. It wasn't a great deal, but it was still worth doing. I didn't renovate it. I didn't do any work to it. I just closed on it. The reason I closed on it, I could have wholesaled it. However, with this particular seller, I had no access. And so it was challenging to convey the condition to my buyers without being able to get them inside. So what I decided to do was to go ahead and close on it and then put it on the market. And that's exactly what I did. So total profit on that was $9,052. So I wanted to share with you just to run the numbers with you. So this next check is for $86,541. Now on this one, it is entirely profit. However, it wasn't an overnight deal. It wasn't a wholesale deal. It wasn't a rehab. So let me explain to you how this check came about. This check was actually from a house that I paid $21,000 for, and I sold it about 4 years ago on the slow flip. So immediately when I sold it, I bought it. I didn't do any work to it. You guys know how my slow flips work. I'm sure if you've been listening this far, you know how my slow flips work. So I bought it. I did absolutely no work to it. I paid $21,000 for it, and I sold it immediately for $89,000 with $3,000 down and $875 a month. So my buyer was paying me $875 a month for the last 4 years, so completely paid for the house. That's why I say it's all profit. I have nothing invested in this house. The buyer renovated the house over this time. I don't know if he was living in it or I don't know what he did, but it was completely renovated. And then he put it on the market now, and I saw the pictures from the listing, and it was completely renovated, beautiful house. He sold it for $149,000. So when he closed, the only part of that money that's mine is the balance of what he owed me, which was $86,541. And the reason it went up a little bit is because he closed at the very end of November. Well, he didn't make October's payment because it was pending closing. So he probably really only owed me about $85,000 something, but then we had to add October's payment to it. So it came out to $86,541. And so it's all profit. On this particular one, it is completely 100% profit. So fantastic. So as I want to address two things on that. Some people, when they hear, oh, wait, he bought it, now you lost a house, right? And they feel like, oh, now you lost a house. What are you going to do? Well, the reality is, I paid $21,000 for it. I'm getting back $86,000. And mind you, the 21 doesn't even count because he paid off the 21. But regardless, now I have 86. So what am I going to do with this 86? I'm going to find 1, 2, 3 more that I can buy with this money. I'm going to pay cash for them. And now I'm going to say pay 30 for it. And then I'm going to turn around and immediately sell it for 89 again. Only now I have 3 of them. So where I was getting 875 a month in cash flow, now I'm going to have 3 times 875. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's not a bad thing when they pay them off. There's a lot of that going on right now. And that's what I wanted to touch on. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. But right now, because of the crazy market that we're in, I feel like I'm getting calls every week, if not sometimes twice a week, with somebody saying, I need a payoff. I'm refining, or I'm selling it, or I'm putting it on the market, something. And there's a lot of it. But, I talked to some of my friends and they're like, oh, no, you're losing your house. I said, no, I'm selling them at super retail. Yes, the market has gone up. Yes, they have put a lot of work into them. But that's the benefit that they get. It has to be a win-win. So the win I get is I paid very little, 20 to 30,000. I'm getting back 80 to 90, right? The win they get is that they renovated it and they get to put it on the market for whatever retail is now. It might be 150, might be 160. So they get to recoup some of their money, make a profit, and get back their rehab money. I'm happy about that. In the end, like I tell you guys all the time, don't count the money in another man's pocket. You have to want everyone to make money. If everyone makes money, that's how you win. If you're the only one who's making money, it's going to end badly. You don't want to be the only one to make money, or else nobody's going to want to do business with you, right? So it's okay. Some people will pay them off. It's okay. Now you have that dry powder and you go out and buy a bunch more. So it's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Picked up the checks today, and I always like to tell you about the deals, but I specifically, when I pick them up, I don't just want to show you a big number and then not tell you exactly how it broke down, because, you might see a check for 110 grand and it looks like we just scored, but my profit was, what was it, $9,052. So it was a really small profit deal, but still worthwhile. We're still out there doing deals every single day. And so, it's what I love. I have 3 more pending right now, 2 buys, 1 sell. And this is why we love this business. And one other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, speaking of loving this business, has anyone seen or paid attention to what was going on with Zillow? So I may have spoken about this already in the last podcast, but I just want to mention it to you. Zillow, is an iBuyer. They were buying houses. They were way overpaying. Well, apparently they got to a point where they could not sustain it anymore. They laid off 25% of their employees, and they're putting for sale 7,000 houses. I think it was $2.3 billion they're trying to sell as a package. Good luck with that. But the interesting thing is twofold. One is, it makes me wonder if Zillow knows something we don't, because they are the biggest real estate data company out there. And the fact that they're not putting them on the market and letting whatever the market will bear come in, they want to sell it as a package at like a $500 or $600 million loss. makes me think that maybe they see what's on the horizon that we don't see yet. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is for you guys who are on appointments like I am. When we go on appointments, we're always going out, we're going on buy call appointments. I want you to print out these articles, save them, you got them on your phone. You can just Google them if you don't have them, the Zillow articles about them, their losses they've been taking and how bad they did with all this getting into the flipping business. I want you to print those and have them with you, because sometimes you're on an appointment and the seller is going to want to tell you, well, Zillow says it's worth, right? How many times have we heard that? Well, you want to be able to pull out this paper and say, oh, these same guys that admit that everything they did was wrong and they didn't know how to do the proper math. Yeah, that's what Zillow's worth, right? And so I want you to print that out, have it with you, because that's going to be your comeback when somebody starts trying to negotiate price based on what Zillow says it's worth. So it's important that you actually have those articles with you, because they may not even know anything about it. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to share with you today. Have an absolutely super fantastic day. Do something today your future self is going to thank you for. And I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Have an absolutely fantastic day. Uh-oh.